All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Chris Control, and we are live from the 704 once again for episode 249 of the A15 Exchange. And well. Champions League Semifinals have come to a close. Who's going to that final? Who won El Clasico today? We're going to be talking about that. We've got UFC 315. Did Belal pass another test? Or does City Kickboxing have another top champ in JDM? Entertainment, not really that much going on. I'm not gonna lie to you, not really that much going on. NHL playoffs, of course, though we do have that second round. Same thing in the NBA, second round action going on as we speak currently. And of course, we're gonna be talking about that towards the main events of the evening, and of course, some stuff to talk about in the roundup. But, ladies and gentlemen, all right, as always, kick back, relax, like, share, and subscribe, as you guys all know how to do. You've been here before, likely. So, yeah, you know the whole drill. All right? You know the whole drill. And, yeah, everything you're looking for can be found in my description. Timestamps, long-form content. Feel free to skip ahead if you're really here for the NHL. You're really here to hear me talk about hockey. You want to hear me talk about basketball, whatever it is, feel free to skip ahead. Timestamps embedded in the video, also in my description. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, let's not waste any more time on this intro. We got a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. Kicking us off here with the fight game as we traditionally do. And it is going to be the UFC this week, okay? Because UFC 215 was in Montreal. It was in the Bell Center. And, of course, it was headlined by the welterweight championship matchup between Belal Muhammad and, of course, Mr. Jack Della, JDM. But was it time? Was JDM prepared? All right. Was he truly the guy? All right. Not a lot of people. This was not. I mean, obviously not a huge, massive, super fight. And a lot of people had questions on whether JDM could deliver. I had questions on if Belal could deliver as a main eventer, as a headliner against somebody with not that much star power. Could it still be an entertaining fight just because of how Belal is? Even though, I give Belal a lot more respect than others do. And well, ladies and gentlemen, we have a title change because JDM went in and we actually had a war. All right, we had probably one of the best title fights of the year and no one expected it. No one, not a single soul expected this to be the banger that it was. I mean, we were going round for round for round for round. It was a great fight. Both guys would, just completely beat faces after it. Belal with a cut on his, a almost Robbie Lawler-esque cut on his lip, cut below the cheek. He was a bloody mess. JDM has a lot of swelling going on, but it was a great fight. Belal, kind of uncharacteristically, he's known for more of the wrestling, the grappling act side of, I'm going to take you down, pound you. That's his game, right? That's Belal's game. But for whatever reason, he wanted to strike with JDM, and I think that really gave Jack the advantage here, just because he was better on the feet. He was better on the feet and got Belal out of his element. When Belal did go for those, takedowns, when he did shoot, JDM showed off some great takedown defense against Belal, and Belal never really looked like he got comfortable or was able to really pull out his most valuable tool. So, credit where credit's due. CKB's got another one. New Zealand, you got another one. All right, JDM, Jack Della is top dog in welterweight. We will see what happens. I think this is, 18 straight wins or something crazy for him. A hell of a run he's been on. All right, took it straight to the top. Not a lot of people, even I, was not like, I don't know if he's really that guy, but guess what? He's the welterweight champion. And that welterweight division really has been very volatile as of late. Doesn't really feel like we've had that dominant champ since Usman. Like, even Leon had it for a few times, then he gave it to Belal. Now Belal had it just once, and then he hands it off to JDM. So we'll see, all right? It's kind of exciting, the lack of parity, but or the parity, should I say, in the welterweight division. But we'll see. But yeah, shout out to JDM, shout out to CKB for getting back on top. Y'all needed this, all right? Volk back on top here. JDM back on top. If only Izzy was not washed. Even though that's still my goat. All right, that's still my boy. But, all right, the second title fight, of course, was Valentina Shevchenko versus Fedor. And I told y'all, all right, even though Val got the UD, retains the title, yada, 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 I try to tell y'all. I said anything can happen. I know it's Chev. She's a legend. One of the greatest ever to ever, one of the greatest to ever do it. But I felt like Faro had, the ability, and it just felt like one of those moments where she could give her some trouble. Maybe even steal this here. And, a lot of people were calling for a split decision here. And I don't think I'd have been surprised seeing that. Val winning, sure, fine. But Shev is definitely not the same. This is not prime Shev anymore, right? This is not prime Bullet. The reflexes, it's similar. Somebody pointed this out to me, and I felt like it was pretty apt. Even though Izzy's kind of in like a division of like savages in middleweight right now, so he's taking that fall a little bit harder than Val, whose division is obviously not as tepid with world beaters. So she's able to kind of fall from that kind of talent level and that reliance on those quick reflexes, that vicious striking. She's able to fall from that and lose that and still retain her spot. Where Izzy, lost some of that touch and it's taken a harder fall just because of who he's got in his division, who he has to face. So, interesting contrast there. But yeah, Val's still champ, but Faro not far behind. I don't know how much longer Val's going to be able to hold that on before she hangs it up. And speaking of people hanging it up, ladies and gentlemen, Jose Aldo took the L this week and then put the gloves on the ground, and one of the greatest to ever do it, Jose Aldo, has walked away from the sports of mixed martial arts. A man that really needs no career retrospective. He was arguably the pound-for-pound king, all right, pre-Conor McGregor. All right, it was him and John Jones. All right, they were the best in the business. You can know GSP because technically GSP was, part of that era. But Aldo was one of the pound-for-pound best in the world. He was once the GOAT at 135. Yeah, I mean, he's a legend. He's a legend. Ever since the world, an absolute legend. So yeah, shout out to Aldo. Just doesn't, like you said, he doesn't have it anymore. It's fine. He's spent these last couple of years as a very solid contender, even though, he wasn't winning all the time. But, I think he went out with some respect, didn't go out in misery or super duper washed. So, yeah, credit to Aldo. Fan favorite, absolute legend of the sport, future UFC Hall of Famer, no doubt. Shout out to the Canadians, though, on this card. They did feast. All right, Malott and then Baralt. Baralt sends Silva to the emergency room with the KO with that vicious elbow dented the man's head. But Mike Malott and Baralt put on for those Canadians. It's always good though. It's always good to see the Canadians or wherever with the UFC is not like in America or like if they're in like a different country, they usually put a lot of those fighters on that card. So it's always good to see and get the crowd into it with some of those guys put on some great performances. So shout out there. UFC 315. I wasn't jazzed about it, but again, like I said, kind of talking about Val, I was like, maybe it'll be a card that surprises us. Even though it's not like a super hype card where we're like, yo, this undercard is crazy, the main card is crazy, but you know what? It turned out to be a very solid card. So yeah, shout out to Montreal for being a great crowd, per usual. And UFC 315, solid stuff. Shout out to JDM though, all right? Shout out to the boy. Let's talk about I'm going to call it Champions League, but it's really just soccer. All right, it's footy this week, okay? It's really like a full name because we got to talk El Clasico, of course. All right, we have to talk El Clasico. But before we talk about that, let's talk about the main course here, all right, which is Champions League. Inter Milan and Barcelona had the best. Now, you can probably go into the annals of history and find maybe a tie that was better. I'm not doubting y'all. Better historians than me can maybe go back a little bit further in time and find a tie in the Champions League that was this good. But in my opinion, I would go as far as saying this was the best Champions League two-leg tie potentially of all time. In terms of entertainment and just quality, it was the best we've ever seen. I mean, back-to-back games, back-to-back legs that finish 3-3 at the end of extra time. And then here, all right, Inter Milan goes up 2-0, strikes hard, strikes fast, word to Cobra Kai. But then Barca ties it back up. Then Rafinha dominating Champions League this year. Not so much La Liga, but we'll talk about that El Clasico. We won't get to El Clasico, all right? I mean, he's dominating La Liga, but, we'll talk about El Clasico when we get to it, though. All right, what happened today? But he gets it, 87th minute. Looks like, Rafinha did it again. Barca on top. Ha, 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 ha. Pack watch, whole jazz. But then, Acerbi, 37-year-old Acerbi, when Inter Milan needed a hero, Acerbi comes through in the 92nd minute, second minute of stoppage time, gets the goal, ties it up. I mean, the San Siro goes crazy. I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin, 1999 pop in the San Siro, going ballistic. And And then we spin it. We go to extra time because a match this good deserves extra time, not just because it was tied. All right. Somehow, like I said, we get that 3-3 yet again. So somebody's got to advance, and Inter Milan just had enough left in the tank. Frattesi gets it 99th minute, and they were able to hold on for the rest of extra time, and they do advance despite Barca's best efforts, despite Lamine Yamal having the most duels won since Neymar, all right, a couple years ago. Despite all of that brilliance, Rafinha, despite it, the Barca Juju, the team of destiny, despite it all, it was not enough. It was not enough. Inter, second Champions League final in 3 years. And they got a shot, man. They got a really, really, really strong shot. Shout to Inzaghi. I got to give a shout to Inzaghi for what a team he's built. What a team he's built. I feel like Inter doesn't get the same press or PR. Even in Italy, I feel like I hear more and now, of course, here in America, that's a lot because, Pulisic is balling for AC Milan. But I feel like Inter doesn't get that same respect, When we talk about the best teams in the world, we don't mention Inter despite the success that this team has been seeing over the past couple of years. Led around Lautaro, Thurman, so on and so forth, right? The talent they're generating, the way that Inzaghi's got them going in Serie A. I feel like Inter needs some more respect as one of the best teams in the world. How many times? And I think if they win this Champions League, that'll be a way to prove it. But yeah, they go out, stun Barcelona. A lot of people thought Barca, with all of the superstar talent, their form, a lot of people had them, this is the team of destiny, like I said, quote unquote. But Inter came in and won, in my opinion, the greatest Champions League tie we've ever seen. But Barcelona never fails to excite, ladies and gentlemen, because we did have a Clasico, which was, I'm going to be honest, for all intents and purposes, this was the La Liga Championship. For all intents and purposes, this was the La Liga title decider. Okay? Travis Scott got his Cactus Jack against the jersey because, Spotify did. And he performed at halftime as well. And, Kylian Mbappe starts off with 2 goals. Wins a pin, which people will debate if it was offside or not. Anyways, scores the pin. Second one, and no debate about that. Yamal, I know people wanted to be like, oh, he did that. That was not a foul. It's not a foul, guys. It's not a foul. There was some very suspect refereeing in this. Do not get me wrong. There felt like there was, strangely enough, since this was at the Camp Nou, not some home cooking for Barca, but some cooking for Real Madrid in their favor. Mr. Hernandez, I believe it was. There was, some very suspect calls. Let's just put it like that. I wouldn't really say these two, maybe the all sides, but the first two I think Mbappe deserved. He earned it. That was a beautiful finish at the end for the second one. And it looked like, he's going to get a hat trick in Real Madrid. He's on timing. They just got to keep feeding him the ball, and he's going to win them this game. And then Real Madrid completely forgot how to play the game of football. Forgot how to play soccer. Forgot. Don Carlo I don't know if he phoned it in or what it was, but they started to try to play out the back. And I noticed how much pressure Barca was putting them on. And this Barca team is one of the highest, most explosive teams we have ever seen. Straight up. I knew what was going to happen. That first goal, I knew it. And when Yamal hit that equalizer, I was like, yeah, it's done. It's done. This game is over. They hadn't even taken the lead yet, but I was like, the game is over. Real Madrid's spirit is broken, and they have a god-awful. All right, I know they went and got Trent, but Real Madrid needs to buy, I don't know, go get Dean, go get whoever. Saliba, I think, is who they were talking about. Get whoever. Because how many times, it's egregious for a team to have all of the individual talents that Real Madrid has, all of these great superstars, and they just have the worst defense imaginable. It's worse than even I can describe watching it. It's painful to watch. Lucas is not that guy. Get him off the wings, bro. Get him off that wing back, fullback, whatever you want to. Get him off. Left back, right back, don't matter. Get him off. He is not the guy. Trent helps. I know he's not a super defensive specialist. He helps, all right? And especially with, helping out that midfield and the creativity to feed Kylian Mbappe's and the Vinicius Juniors, so on and so forth. But you need to buy a defense. With all the money in the world and the branding in the world, Real Madrid needs to go buy a defense, all right? Because too many times, all right, against Barcelona. In fact, 4 times, because they broke out the broomsticks on you. Y'all have been burned like this. Too many times. Mbappe does get his hat trick in this game. Ferdinand was one of the big stars though here, as much as Rafinha was player of the game, even though he was kind of wasteful despite his brace. Ferdinand was amazing. All right, three assists, a hat trick of assists in this game. He was the playmaker. All right, Yamal was also special, best youngster in the world. But yeah, and the other thing I will say though, as much as I've seen Barca's graces here, Hansi Flick, despite, again, very entertaining team. One of the most entertaining teams, I dare say, of all time. This Barcelona team. I'd go that far. All right, that Flick has created. But you have some talented defensive players. But it is absolutely suicidal and psychopathic to keep playing as high of a line as they do here. And it cost them versus Inter. It cost them. As brilliant as Flick has been offensively, defensively, the high line has cost them. It cost them versus Inter, and it could have been, oh my goodness, if Real Madrid had a more balanced team, oh man, this could have got ugly. This could have got ugly. I don't understand against Kylian Mbappe. This is not some regular La Liga 28-year-old striker from wherever in Spain that you're seeing, on an off day. It's not that. This is Kylian Mbappe. This is the best player of his generation. This is the best player, arguably, I would dare say, in the world, on this planet. Known for what thing amongst all of his many gifts, his speed. And you ran that psychotic of a high line. And this is his fourth time seeing you. So what happened in the first game with all the offsides is not happening. You were asking to get scored on. Asking. And if Real Madrid had a better team, like Inter, with just as dangerous of attackers, oh yeah, no. You see what happens. So that's the one thing I will say. But Barca does clinch the La Liga title for all intents and purposes. I know it hasn't done mathematically, and they could go on a bad run of form here, and there's still games to be played, but it's done. All right, Barca's got it in the bag. Yamal, more brilliance, best youngster in the world, no debate. Rafinha continues to have a great year, though it wasn't his best game, despite what you might see on the stats. Ferdinand, you are that guy. Flick, you are also that guy, but defensively, all right, I get it. It's great as a neutral, but as a Barca fan, that has to be stressful. All right, that absolutely has to be stressful. But Barca gets the El Clasico sweep. All right, Mbappe has to stop having these hat tricks in big games where his team just does not show up. All right, please, buy this man a defense, please. Let's talk about his old team though, because that was the other Champions League tie, and I can't say it. I say it every week, but it's gonna happen. It just might happen. All right, PSG gets the win here over Arsenal 2-1. Fabian Ruiz with a beautiful touch, and then just kind of puts this game away. Hakimi then just further does it. Saka did get one back, but Saka was very wasteful in my opinion in this game. He missed an absolute sitter. All right, clear as day. Your mother, it's Mother's Day, your mom probably could have scored that goal that Saka aired. So, yeah, not great. Not great. All right, not particularly great from Arsenal there, not great from Saka, but I digress. All right, I digress. Not the campaign that Arsenal wanted, being trophyless again under Arteta, but it's the way it's worked out. PSG, though, continues to be dangerous. So dangerous. All right, them versus Inter is going to be a movie. All right, that's going to be a movie. Going to be interesting. We will see, and we'll talk about that here on the A15 Exchange. But ladies and gentlemen, it just might happen. All right, it just might happen. And quickly here, ladies and gentlemen, entertainment. It's not that long this week. All right, really not that long. I'm watching Gossip Girl. I'm honestly a little bit addicted to it. It's a great show. I can't lie to y'all. All right, it's a great show. Tyla, another it girl. All right, like a Serena Van der Woodson or a Blair Woodruff. All right, she dropped Bliss, saw a little single, nothing too crazy. All right, nothing too crazy, but some more good stuff from Tyla. I think she's pretty much established herself. She's not a flash in the pan. She's not gonna show up here and then disappear. Tyla is going to be one of the main pop girlies, so to speak. She's going to be here. All right, she's going to be here. And then Stormzy, all right, overseas. All right, out in Britain, Stormzy's back. He dropped Hold Me Down, classic Storms, introspective, track you can probably expect. If that's your taste, then that's what that was. Sorry, Rach was more my taste, a little bit more hard-hitting. It's more I was wanting from Stormzy. So, yeah, not too bad. All right, very quiet week, though, in entertainment. All right, compared to the past couple weeks, very quiet week, but not too mad at it. And we are back for the second half with the NHL, and also, I almost forgot. We do have this bottle of Jameson, which you might be, Chris, why is this the decoration? Why is your co-host a bottle of Jameson? Are you going through something? Do you need help? No, we had a house party this past weekend, and the Jameson got left in the room. So amongst other bottles, by the way, that got left in the room. But it is my co-host for now. So everybody say to Jameson, he's holding it down, giving me some info, feeding me notes. So don't even worry about it. He's straight. You know who's not straight? You know who's not good? The Washington Capitals. All right, it's only 2-1, but boy oh boy did they get a beat down from the Carolina Hurricanes yesterday. 4-0. 4-0. My Canes put it on him. It felt good. All right, it felt good. This was a much needed win. Roslovich, Zvek, all big time performances here, but Freddie, of course, probably first star for most people. 21 saves, the shutout. It was just a really excellent defensive performance from us. I was really happy with what our defensive core did in this game against Washington, and of course it was reflected in the scoreline. So yeah, really, really good game from Carolina, helping build momentum here against Washington. We'll see what happens. Can Ovi and the boys get back into it? But Carolina takes a big, big win here in Game 3. Vegas. All right, let's go out west. All right, Vegas and Edmonton. Of course, the battle of former 2015, great, number one overall. It wasn't really a battle. I guess it kind of was. The media tried to. But, two guys that were supposed to be the two of the biggest superstars in the NHL probably today. And, one became Connor McDavid, who's the best player in the world, and two became Jack Eichel. And Jack, he's a cup winner, one of the best players probably people would still say in the league. So, hey. And McDavid, absolutely rinsed Jack in that game to win. But Vegas does get their lick back here with the 4-3 win to make it 2-1. All right? They needed this one. Had to have it. This was a must-win. Going down 3-0 to a team as talented as the Edmonton Oilers would have spelled nothing but disaster, in my opinion, for Vegas. So, yeah, them getting this win, absolutely huge. Riley Smith, big time here. He had 2 goals, Corey Perry, by the way, also had 2 goals in this game for did everything. Him and McDavid did everything they could in this game to try to win this one, but it just was not to be. Vegas does get the win. Shout out to Riley Smith for getting that done for them. And Jack Eichel and Co. live to fight another day. He needs to make an appearance in the series, though. Dallas, all right, Dallas gets this big 5-2 win over Winnipeg today. Literally just happened. A 3-goal third period powers them to that win. They go up 2-1. All these series 2-1s. All right, all of them 2-1s. But yeah, Dallas goes up 2-1 over Winnipeg. I'm just not convinced. Winnipeg was so good during their regular season. I wouldn't even put this one hot on, Hellebuck, even though, again, this is just another game where, 3+ goals let in. So, not completely his fault, but nonetheless, not a great sign from the guy that was, in MVP talks as the winner. So, we will see. All right, Mikko Rantanen had 3 points. He has been probably, if I had to give a Conn Smythe for just, regardless who wins the cup, if I just had to give a playoff MVP, it'd probably be Mikko Rantanen. Back-to-back hat tricks to end last series, of course, famously in the revenge game versus the Avs, to kick off this series in Game 1, and then he has 3 points today to help power Dallas to the win. So, yeah, Mikko just on a rampage. All right, Rantanen is on a rampage, and the Jets are on the way currently. 2-1, Dallas is up. We'll see what happens. Tonight, Toronto and Florida, take on each other. Toronto's up 2-1 in that series. You got Drizzy riding. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes an appearance in the Air Canada Center. Toronto's building a lot of momentum right now, but we'll see. Florida, of course, reigning defending Cup champions. Can't rule them out. But, yeah, Toronto, whole lot of momentum for them right now. A whole lot of momentum, a whole lot to like. If they get this, win here in Game 4, I think that would be huge for them and just trying to make sure. But Toronto in that 3-1 lead, they do have a history. So we'll see with the Maple Leafs up in the series. We'll see what happens. You'll know what happened by then. All right, by the time this is out. Let's talk about the NBA. All right, let's talk about the NBA, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. This could have been a really wicked, very wicked episode for the Boston Celtics. All right, it was almost a real wicked, diabolical episode for the C's. All right, but they did strike back in Game 3. All right, after losing both games in Boston, had everybody saying, "Uh-oh," I was ready to call out JT. But they did get the win. All right, JT did show up. 22 points in this game. He had 5 threes. Peyton Pritchard as well. 5 threes in this game. And yeah, it came together for Boston. I think also it helped that the Knicks they didn't have it. They couldn't get the lid off of the basket in Game 3. Just a lot of missed shots. Cat, even with his big day, was very inefficient. So, yeah, that was really it. It was really it. And it's what we kind of said this series is going to be. It's just Can New York keep up that pace when Boston does start hitting shots like they did here in Game 3? And I don't even think this was, their best ability. But, can New York keep that pace? Did so far, did very well in those first 2 games. But we've seen how Tibbs does, and these teams sometimes run out of gas towards the end and need a Herculean effort from probably Jalen Brunson. And that's not, the Celtics aren't a team you can really do that against. So, yeah, I think Game 4 is going to be very huge and very telling in what direction the series is about to go. But for now, Boston gets the win here in Game 3. Get one back. It's still 2-1, though. Minnesota and Golden State. Chef Curry's hamstring is blown, so this is they not out of it though. Okay, Minnesota only won this game by 5, 102-97. But it's not looking good in my opinion for the Warriors. It's not looking good. Anthony Edwards, I challenged him last week. I said, Ant-Man, if he's supposed to be a superstar, he needs to start playing like a superstar. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Edwards is back. All right, 36 points in this game to lead all scorers. Julius Randle. I know there used to be once upon a time. I mean, Randall was almost a laughingstock. There was a lot of jokes about whether you can play winning basketball with Julius Randle on your team. And here we are. All right, here we are. Randall, very solid, and he's been very solid all playoffs long for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He has a big triple-double in this game, 24, 10, and 12 for Randall. Jimmy Buckets, playoff Jimmy, made an appearance, 33, 7, and 7. Hell, Jonathan Kuminga had 30 out of nowhere. But, like I said, without Curry, I'm just not buying it. I'm not buying it with the Warriors. Even with Curry, I wasn't buying it, as y'all know. But without him, and if Ant is really back to playing like Ant, I think, this could really be where this series kind of takes a left turn for the Warriors. But we'll see, all right? We'll see what happens in Game 4. All these Game 4s are really pivotal. All right, in the NHL and NBA, Game 4 seems to be, it's really going to be that make-or-break game, I think, in a lot of these series that we're seeing. But yeah, Minnesota goes up 2-1. Draymond Green continues to just tally up the foul outs, the techs, and then is upset because he feels like a narrative is being pushed. But Dre, I give you more credit than people should give you for your talents as a player and what you've meant to this dynasty. But the narrative is true. Is it really a narrative in the way that you're trying to, connotate it if it's true? You're Draymond Green. You earned that reputation. You know what I mean? You earned that reputation. Don't try to play it as something it's not. All right? You earned it. You wear it. Wear it on your sleeve. All right? That's all I'm saying. Wear it on your sleeve. But yeah, Minnesota back in business. OKC just went down to the wire with Denver. And this was not this felt like almost like a classic mid-2000s. Gritty, not pretty, we playing D, somebody's got to eat this out in crunch time type playoff game. Okay? It was really that type vibe. It was really that type vibe. Shai didn't hit a single 3, went 0 for 5, but still had 25 to get the Thunder over the mark and get this win. However, I do want to say, I think the biggest indicator of why OKC won this game, besides not panicking and freezing up the way we've seen them in the 2 games that they lost versus Denver, and we've seen other teams do against Denver. I got to give credit, credit's due to the Nuggets, but for them acting like they've been here. But the biggest kind of reason I feel like they won this game, 35 bench points. 35 bench points. Caruso, Cason Wallace, A-Wig, shout out to the 3-6 legend, Aaron Wiggins. But, yeah, they were big time. All right, 35 combined points off of the bench. They all contributed greatly to this win. And again, all right, in a game this low scoring for, 2025 standards, you need your bench to come through like that. And when they can, that makes all of the difference. So, yeah, OKC's depth, should I say, comes through. Joker at 27 and 13. It wasn't very efficient. All right, he's had a rough go the last 2 games. Very, very rough go. All right, very rough go. That 27 and 13 looks good, but the turnovers, I haven't seen Jokic turn the ball over at the rate he is right now in, I don't know, ever. Not even maybe his rookie season. Crazy, the pressure being applied, and it just feels like he's trying to do too much, which is foreign. Because Joker is the ultimate, always in control player, but it feels like he's doing too much a little bit. He's trying to force the bill a little bit too much, so to speak. And yeah, so he was able to take advantage, tie the series up. Aaron Gordon, though, I want to say before I close this, been awesome. All right, 15, 16. It might have been 15 and 15. I think it's 15, 16, and 6. He's been great for the Nuggets. All right, he stepped up. Normally we talk about like a Michael Porter Jr. in that third guy role behind, Jokic and Murray. But it's been AG. This playoff run, it's been AG. So, credit where credit's due. He's going to have to keep being that guy for the, Nuggets to pull off the upset here and take out the Thunder. But for now, we're tied up at 2-2. Cleveland will be trying to tie it up tonight, which you guys will know if they did. They got it back in blood in game 3 after Indiana had them in a very wicked stance, and we were almost talking crazy about the Cavs, but I will hold off. All right, Holly is still looking like, a superstar. We'll see if he can keep it going, or if Cleveland can tie this series. It's going to be a very interesting one. But like I said, we'll know. But so far, heating up here in round 2 for both the NHL and the NBA. These round 2s heating up. Game 4, pivotal. All right, pivotal. Very pivotal. With that said, though, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the roundup. And yes, all right, yes. NASCAR. All right, let's get NASCAR out of the way. Kyle Larson won quite literally everything you can win at Kansas. He swept the entire weekend, okay? Practice, top of the table, qualifying on pole, fastest lap, and then, of course, won the race. All right, so a very dominant weekend for Kyle Larson in Kansas. His 3rd win of the season. He's looking prime to make another championship run, as expected. IndyCar. Alex Palou is just levels above everybody else right now. I mean, he is levels. It's kind of ridiculous. And I had to highlight it. We don't always talk about IndyCar here in the Roundup, but I'm talking about it today because Alex has won 4 out of the 5 races we run this year. And the only one he didn't win, he was 2nd. This is a historically dominant season so far from Alex Palou. And with the Indy 500 next, if he wins that, then we need to start having some conversations. All right? And Cadillac, y'all just did that rollout last week. I'm just saying. I know I've been hearing about Checo and Bottas and Mick and all these people. Alex Palou. I know he's under McLaren, but Alex Palou. I'm just saying. All right, what he's doing in IndyCar, he looking like he's ready. All right, he's looking like he needs a new world to conquer, and I would love to see him in F1. So, yeah, we'll see. But Alex off to a historic start in IndyCar. The WNBA season, all right, starts next week. Caitlin's looking like an MVP candidate, even though she didn't go nuclear, but it's preseason. However, shout out to Tahina. She cooked up yesterday. Look good for the dream. She should make that team. It's cut week, though, for the WNBA, which is always a rough one. It's ongoing now. Because I feel bad. But it's getting a little bit better. We're getting some expansion, of course, but I still feel bad. But very excited about this WNBA season. We'll be covering it all year long here on the A15 Exchange, so stay tuned for that. And to end us off here for episode 249, Derek Carr retires impromptu. I think his shoulder was just cooked. So into a very kind of up and down, but not too high up and not too far down. A very interesting career for Derek Carr. 11 years, though, is a solid time, though. So, credit where credit's due to Derek Carr. He does retire, but that leaves the Saints in a really bad situation quarterback-wise. Now, running with potentially Tyler Shugg as your guy. They made their bed, though. In the draft, they made their bed. We will see, but Saints, it's not looking good. A lot of people, Arch was trending. That should tell you all you need to know. Arch was trending. Saints were celebrating, though. Y'all was very happy about this Carr retirement, but we'll see what happens. If anything crazy else happens, any new news here in this NFL off-season. But ladies and gentlemen, summer is on the horizon. If you graduated this weekend or this coming week or the week before, happy graduation. And of course, to the mothers, which I'm recording this on Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day. All right, happy Mother's Day. And ladies and gentlemen, that is it for episode 249. 250, that's a big one. Next week, we'll talk about all that then. But for now, Ocho signing off.